Oh man, now I want a Chroma Wolf. Hey everyone, welcome back to Andrew's Wizardly Reads, and as always, I'm Andrew, and today I've got another book review for you. But before we get to that book review, make sure you are liking and subscribing and hitting that bell notification so you get regular updates when I put out new content. I post every Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Now that said, guys, this is a fantastic start to hopefully one of my new favorite trilogies, and that's going to be the first Threadlight book, Voice of War by Mr. Zach Argyle. And guys, just to get started, let's go ahead and read what the book is about. It says, while preparing for the birth of his first child, Chris Valerian is tasked with uncovering the group responsible for a series of missing threadweavers. Those able to see and manipulate Threadlight. With each failure, the dark voice in his head grows, louder, begging to be released. A young girl from a secret city in the center of Fahrenwild veers off course to explore the streets of Alkia. She never expected that her journey would end up in chains. Far in the deserts to the south, a young man's life changes after he dies. When Chris learns who is responsible for the missing Threadweavers, they come for him and his family. He must do everything in his power to protect those he loves, even if it means trusting strangers, or worse, the dark voice in his own mind. Together, they will change the world, whether they intend to or not. And that is the core of the story right there. Chris is, it's C-H-R-Y-S, which I didn't understand until later in the book. Don't worry, it's not just some weird fantasy spelling of Christopher, which is addressed in the book. It's fantastic. I love it. What Zach has accomplished here is really, really interesting because for me, I'm a very emotional reader. I like to react in the moment. And here in Voice of War, you have to suspend that. And it's funny because I was chatting with Leslie over at the Nerdy Narrative about this book, and I was like, I don't understand why this has happened. And she says, you need to keep reading. So then I was like, but it still doesn't. And she's like, just keep reading. But it didn't. Just keep reading, Andrew. And so finally I was like, okay, fine, I'll keep reading. Sure enough, like literally a chapter to 2 chapters later, I'm fine again. It all just slowly unfolds, and it's not a story that you can just react to in the moment. It's something you've got to let unfold, and then it just kind of blossoms into something absolutely fantastic. So that is one thing that, for me as the reader, I had to get used to here with Voice of War. But, I mean, totally worth it. The magic system here is fairly interesting. It is Threadlight. So essentially there are sapphire and emerald threadweavers. And then there's other things in there that are revealed to you throughout the book. But the main two are sapphire and emerald. And I don't remember which does which. But it's basically you can push off things or you can pull them to you. So like it's almost like, you know, if you're like throwing a punch, you can like create a thread and pull your fist down, basically increasing gravity. Or if you're pushing, you can like jump up really high, or you can jump super far, things of that nature. It's very, very similar in mechanics to being a Mistborn and Allomancy and stuff from Brandon Sanderson's world. But this is a little bit different. Basically, when they are using their magic, the color of magic they are using flows through their veins and lights up their veins, and it like flares in their eyes and stuff like that. So Threadweavers are actually fairly rare, and if you are a Threadweaver, you automatically get like an elevated place in society. And then there's also, because it's in the blood, is where the magic is located. And it's super interesting because non-Threadweavers, I forget, there's a term for them, and it's just, I think it's achromatic, or yeah, something like along those lines. People who just have like brown eyes or something like that, who can't use the magic, will actually like buy Threadweaver blood and like take shots so that they can see threads, because everything in the world like has a thread that can be like manipulated or pulled or pushed and things of that nature. And so then they can see it, but they just can't interact with it. So it acts as like this expensive designer drug where you can kind of like get a little bit of being a Threadweaver. And that's kind of what these blood thieves are, and what Chris has been tasked with uncovering in the beginning of the book. He is basically tasked with, find these people and put a stop to these, because he is one of 3 high generals in this, I believe it's, what is the name of the city? Alkian or something like that. And he's one of 3 high generals. It's Chris, Jurius, and Henna. And Jurius' son has been taken by the blood thieves, so there's a lot of friction there and a lot of pressure on him to help him find one of his co-high generals' kids. And there is also a deeper mystery here that unfolds and causes a lot of drama. And, so we've got Chris, we've got Laurel, and we have Alvarez as our 3 main POVs here. And Laura resides in a city called Farinwild. And all I can really think of when I think of Farinwild is something akin to Avatar the movie. It's very colorful, it's like in the trees and things of that nature. It's this hidden city in the trees, and it's supposed to just have like really interesting creatures that are unique to the area, and like people, it's more common to be a thread weaver here. They've got like mystical stones and stuff. And it's a really, really, really interesting world that has been created here, but it's secret. And Laurel's kind of your typical teenage girl starting to rebel. She thinks she knows better. She's very, very, very bullheaded. She's going to go head rushing. She makes a lot of mistakes. She makes instant judgment calls like any teenager does. And so, honestly, Laurel bugged me a whole lot. Mainly because, like, it was always just like, you're lying to me, or you're wrong, and I know best, and I'm going to make this judgment call, and Gale take you, and da-da-da-da-da. So, Laurel, whenever Laurel was on the page, I found her engaging, but ultimately unlikable. But still, like, written really well here, because I could tell that the character on the page is younger, and is probably a rebellious teenager. So that was very, very well done from writing characters standpoint. The third POV that we follow was a bit confusing for me to start. Basically, we read, I think it's in the prologue, where it's just somebody dies, and then it doesn't pop back up again until chapter 13. And that's Alvarez. Basically, he dies while being experimented on. And then, like, when he wakes up again, for some reason, he is brought back from the dead. He is sustained. Basically, I think of Deadpool without all the prune face and stuff like that when I think of Alvarez. Basically, it happened to be a success, the experiment was, and it just kind of sustained him until his body could heal himself. So he died. But it's... What he's kind of dealing with is he's out in the deserts, kind of in this kind of tucked away city, which tucked away cities seem to be a thing here in the Threadlight world. So it's an interesting, because it kind of, the forest butts up to the desert and the forest butts up to the city. That is one thing that could use a little bit more fleshing out. Other than that, I don't really have any world building issues here. But Alvarez is basically just somebody who he had a great grandfather, a fantastic grandfather, and that he had a very bad father figure. And so he's kind of a mix of the both of them. Like, he's very prone to making mistakes. He's very prone to doing something that is probably not going to work out well. And he constantly is just getting himself into trouble. But he wants to be a better man. And so he keeps doing something stupid in the hopes that it'll pay off, and then he can get a little further in life and then go and be a better person from then on out. And it never quite works out for him. But honestly, Alvarez is I am team Alvarez. Alvarez is awesome. Another thing, going back to Chris. Let's go back to Chris. Another thing going on with Chris is a war hero. I completely forgot to mention this, and I don't want to forget to talk about it. He is a war hero that basically he kind of blacked out during the war, and just slaughtered a bunch of people. Just killed them. Left, ally, enemy, left, right, center, all dead. He just becomes this killing machine known as the Apogee. And so he's got a reputation for being the Apogee. But he isn't the Apogee. It's the voice inside of him. It's almost like, think of like the Bloody Nine from First Law, Logan Nine Fingers Bloody Nine. It's very, very similar to that style of character, except where like the Bloody Nine doesn't talk to Logan. The Apogee actually speaks to Chris. And it's always just saying, hey, you can't handle this situation, but you know who can? I can. You're gonna die if you don't give control back over to me. Hey, you know what? If it's too much, just let me out. Just let me out. But he's afraid to let out the Apogee because he knows what's gonna happen when he does. The Apogee is a force of nature. And I thought that was really, 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 really cool. Another thing that Zach Argyle did here, that it would have been very, very, very easy to slide into the miscommunication trope. And it would have been, I would have groaned if it had happened. But there is a point in the story where Chris and his wife are having a conversation, and basically he unloads and confesses things to his wife. And it could have gone one way or the other. And instead of just not understanding, it takes it in a direction that is not only written incredibly well, but it also feels like a very genuine, very loving, very, very healthy relationship between a man and his wife. And it's just so rare when you get that in a fantasy. And even though it doesn't seem like it should be something that gets mentioned in a book review, but it is, because it's so rare. You know, usually it's, how could you? You've lied to me. You've hid this from me. I don't even know who you are anymore. Or it's, oh, you need help and let me get you help. Or it's just something dramatic or overblown or dramatized. And this just felt so real and loving, and just, it was heartwarming to read it. Honestly, like it was one of the most cathartic moments I've had reading in a long, long time. And then, of course, I could harp on that moment for so long, but I want to move along and talk about Laurel's companion, which is a chroma wolf. And essentially, Laura is an orphan. She's raised by her grandfather, and she's got, I believe the chroma wolf's name is Asher. I don't really know I have trouble picturing chroma wolves, but the name chroma wolf is awesome, and I want a chroma wolf. I want pictures of chroma wolves. I want to line my wall with chroma wolf wallpaper. I want a chroma wolf, Zach. Why would you do this to me? It's just so good. Asher is basically, they got her, Zara. Sorry, the race of the people in the Fair and Wild are the Zara. Or the people, not the race. But basically, the chroma wolves roam the Fair and Wild, and they are known to kill people. But a lot of the times they'll take in a pup, because it brings, if they spend time with them, then it can go and influence the packs and make them less likely to attack the Zara. And so Asher is one of these pups who was brought in, and then because Laurel her family was killed when she was very young, supposedly by a pack of chroma wolves, they thought it would be a good idea to pair her with one, and so that she can not only learn to forgive the creatures, but also have a bond, a healthy bond with a creature that could, help repair or mitigate some of that loss and loneliness that she was feeling. And it's just such a great relationship. I love animal companions. Animal companions can be done horribly wrong, and I'm still gonna probably like it. I love me some animal companions. Structurally, and just from a character, a structure, a world building, everything here just kind of fits together to work really, really well. I have to reiterate what I said at the beginning, is if you have knee-jerk reactions to how the story is unfolding, you need to just kind of sit back, relax, and let the story unfold, because most everything gets explained, and is understood from a specific standpoint. One of the early things that I had a knee-jerk reaction to, I understood later where the character was coming from. And so if you just kind of sit back and enjoy the ride, you're going to just enjoy this reading experience. It was a solid 4.5 out of 5. This was a great book, and one of the best books that I've probably read in the last 3 months. I already bought the second book on ebook, guys. I am super excited to get to this. So that said, guys, that is the end of this book review. Please let me know in the comments down below if you are planning on picking up Voice of War. It was the book of the month for the shelf, published in Discord for the month of June. So we got to talk with Zach a little bit, and we got to have some general discussion on the book. I had a lot of fun there, even though I kind of came to the party late. But, I mean, let me know if you're wanting to read the book, if you've already read the book, your thoughts on the book, what your thoughts on what I've said here are. Just let me know, guys. And as always, check the description for the link to the Wizardly Duo Discord. We would love to have you stop on by and just become a part of our community. So, till next time, peace out, stay magical, bye.